This week in gaming, we got gameplay of Battlefield 6's Wake Island update. Hell Let Loose Vietnam stormed Steam with a mixed review rating. Arc Raiders gave us a preview of the game's next map, and much more. So DICE released a trailer for the Wake Island update dropping on Monday, and honestly, it's incredible. One of the more fun trailers to watch for a Battlefield game. It's very cinematic with the gameplay showcasing land, sea, and air combat set across a remake of Wake Island that's based more on the Battlefield 5 version of the map. On top of the new map, we're also getting two-seater jets and carrier assault that actually lets players fight inside of the massive aircraft carriers as the final objective. And of course, there's also the Top Gun crossover that will add 3 characters from the movies to the game as skins, along with other vehicles and weapon skins inspired by the movies. And while I certainly don't want the Battlefield franchise to start going down the Call of Duty path and just doing tons of crazy, wacky crossovers all the time, I honestly think this one's kind of cool, and I don't mind more of the militaristic movie or thematic crossover stuff as long as it fits the theme, and I think in this case it absolutely does. I mean, who doesn't want an excuse to fly an F-14 Tomcat in Battlefield? I don't care if it's obsolete, give me that jet now. And make sure you stay tuned to the channel for some upcoming coverage on that update in the near future. Hell Let Loose Vietnam seems to be one of this month's more divisive titles. Critics seem to have reviewed it pretty favorably across the board, noting major performance improvements and other fixes since its beta phase. But user reviews on Steam are only 53% positive, with many players complaining about bugs, crashes, AMD GPU issues, and more. The general consensus seems to be that there's a good game here, it's just marred by launch bugs that should have been dealt with. Players are reporting that adding the DirectX 12 launch flag in the game's Steam properties will fix AMD GPU crashes, but that sounds like the only user-side fix for the game's launches so far. VoIP has been pretty buggy, with many players either sounding like robots or VoIP itself just not working. I experienced some of these robotic voices when I played prior to launch, and I know the devs are aware of these issues, so hopefully a fix will be out soon. One of the bigger issues is the VIP system for joining matches. Basically, players that don't have VIP status can't see where they are in the server's queue, leading to much longer than expected wait times to join a match. Despite all that, the game actually hit 30,000 concurrent players on launch and was number 4 on the top seller list, which is pretty good for a Hell Let Loose game. Hopefully the devs can get some fixes out quickly. Stalker 2's next major update is looking almost like a remaster. The 2.0 update is free for all owners and launches alongside the upcoming paid DLC Cost of Hope on the 20th. The update includes extensive overhauls to foliage, environments, points of interest, NPCs, and more. The before and after comparisons in the trailer for the update are, well, frankly, jaw-dropping. The game already looked incredible to begin with, but these overhauls add a ton of density and variety to the landscape. The updates to the NPCs include human NPCs looting bodies, additional mutant subclasses, new enemies, and more. On top of the overhauls, the devs are also adding 4 new weapons along with some new optics. Players will also get new custom difficulty options that let them tweak the experience to their liking. Update 2.0 also includes significant optimizations, which will be great because this is a very demanding game. Xbox CEO Asha Sharma toured Bethesda's studio this week, getting a live demo of their upcoming Elder Scrolls game. She teased the game on social media, saying, "Live playthrough of Elder Scrolls 6 something this morning. The scale and grandeur are incredible. The story is even greater." And her censorship of the game's subtitle has led to a ton of speculation, as it's clearly intentional. However, Sharma's visit was also met with a protest from employees. Workers at Bethesda's Rockville, Maryland office that hosted Sharma set up a giant inflatable rat and hundreds of red flags symbolizing the developers that Xbox recently laid off. The inflatable rat is a widely recognized symbol for labor disputes in the US and is generally set up by unions when major projects like building construction refuse to hire union workers. The protest was organized in part by Bethesda's unionized workers, who released a statement saying, "We refuse to let executives forget what game studios are actually made of, their workers." Now, outside of that, thankfully, it seems like Bethesda haven't forgotten about their Oblivion remaster. This week, they put out a statement about future updates for the game, saying that they're looking into bringing performance optimization from the game's Switch 2 port to PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox consoles. Oblivion Remastered's last update was on July 9th of last year, and it failed to resolve some significant frame pacing and performance issues. Circling back to what feels like the never-ending Xbox layoffs and turmoil, a current id developer, Chris Hayes, gave an incredibly candid interview about the state of the studio following a massive culling of its workforce. Xbox cut an estimated 50% of the studio's developers. Hayes said the layoffs were so inhuman it was demoralizing and morale has never been lower. id has officially said they're still the same id and that they've reduced their staff to the numbers that made Doom 2016. However, Hayes said, first of all, we're not the same id. We're half the same id. It was people that made us special. It's hard to make a game when there's entire departments gutted, that you need entire disciplines that are gone. He concluded by saying that these decisions were not made with foresight. They were not made with the idea of a healthy game studio to continue forward. Overall, what Hayes is saying suggests that id and Xbox aren't being forthright about the true impact of the layoffs to the company. And while that's basically to be expected, it's crazy to think of a studio just losing half of its employees and still being expected to make a competent game. Rockstar's gamble on $100 games is paying off. They announced some data about pre-orders for Grand Theft Auto 6, and it turns out more people are pre-ordering the game's $100 edition over its base price of $80. The $100 edition includes in-game shops and customization options that standard edition owners won't get access to. Obviously, people who are big fans of the franchise are going to be the most likely to pre-order, so this data is probably a bit skewed for now, but nonetheless, people are basically lining up to pay $100 for a game. I think this is probably a one-off because it's GTA 6, but who knows, maybe this is a precursor for the future. Arc Raiders is getting a new snow map. Frozen Trail launches on October 8th as the game's next major update. The previews for the map look impressive, with an expansive mountain wilderness covered in fresh snow. The update will also include a new Arc operation, new Arc enemies, a whole new progression system with player outposts, a reworked skill tree, and more. So far, it's unclear what these player outposts will be like or what purpose they serve, but it sounds like they'll be a home away from the underground city of Speranza. And despite Arc Raiders maybe not getting the most headlines these days, it did sell 800,000 copies in the second quarter of this year. Personally, I think that reworked skill tree could breathe a lot of life back into the game, as that was one of the more kind of underdeveloped parts of Arc Raiders, and there's huge potential there. Hopefully that will be realized in this upcoming update. Night Dive announced a VR release of their System Shock remake from 2023. The remake was a top-to-bottom overhaul that essentially reinvented the iconic FPS from the early days of gaming as a vibrant and fully 3D sci-fi immersive sim experience. The VR version is being developed by Flat 2 VR Studios. It's unclear how extensive of a port it'll be based on the trailer. Weapons are handled with 6 degrees of freedom, but reloads might be pre-baked animations and still fully interactive. Either way, it looks like another cool way of experiencing the remake. The VR port doesn't have a release date yet. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 is getting a beta that is surprisingly extensive. It kicks off on the 21st for pre-order customers and includes a campaign mission, 6 multiplayer maps, and a variety of game modes. The open beta starts on the 28th and adds the Ground War multiplayer mode with 2 maps. Pre-ordering also grants owners early access to the game's campaign a week before the official launch date of October 23rd. The hype for the upcoming tactical Battlefield-like FPS Wardogs is picking up steam real quick. So quick, in fact, that even the developers jokingly telling people not to buy it didn't slow it down. This week, the devs released a video outlining 10 reasons why not to buy their game, such as it being priced at $40, it's an early access game, Historically, their games don't really live up to expectations. Obviously, this was a bit tongue-in-cheek, but really the video served as more of a way to reassure us that they are aware of all of the risks and the things that we are generally cautious about with an indie dev releasing a new title. It's a refreshingly honest gesture at a time when many developers are kicking games out the door before they're ready. And as a result of the video, Wardogs has shot up Steam's bestseller charts. Folks that have recently gotten hands-on time with the game are also painting a very positive picture. Recent playtests have left many participants feeling incredibly positive about the game's future, with some even saying it could be the next great tactical FPS. Wardogs blends ideas from games like Arma, Call of Duty, and Battlefield into a massive milsim-like experience where players fight over objectives to earn cash that they can then spend on upgrades during a match. If everything comes together, Wardogs seems like it could be something special. We'll have to wait and see. The game will be available to pre-order customers on the 21st, and officially it'll launch on September 10th. Up next, if you want to see another indie dev project, check out the latest devlog for C-Beams, the indie game that I'm making with a small development team. It's a spaceship action RPG. We've got publisher backing from Hooded Horse. I'm very excited about the future of this game. Check out the latest updates on it. I think you'll enjoy. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.